We are watching Makwaba Emfa Emra Bedjem Jumedi so on Adom TV live on DSTV channel 280. So that's not good to say live and so or you're reading now, you're in an audio form. At the Ato podcast, they took us search for Adom TV. Adom TV. Search for Adom TV. Na HCB one so went to me and reading na amano and see join live on Facebook and so Adom TV. There comment or hodom na yenutwe enkombo. And the person about the commission say is a MPP the manifesto aba and this is also the manifesto so aba. So the address so you do come the NDC manifesto you launch here now no kwesi the year. Now no member day. Oh Winneba in the central region. And ma bebre and o manifesto them. Yeah, ni nyina fa Ghana and Kanko ni yedu eho. It's a 4-year social contract between the flag bearer of the NDC and Ghana. The flag bearer of NDC and Ghana. It will be the next 4 years. No, so nyakonya betena Ghana konya ne so biemu a. The social contractor oni ya sign no. Was sign up from there. Yenso ye Ghana for yegusu a review. Wonso no be a contract sign ya. On aye contract ni no on the otiase but ye na ode bre na say ye review contract no. Na ye say ye be sign. Say be sign ye say ye beto abade ama no. See and sign ya extend to above man. And only yenso ye parta. Ye be sabe nya sign there mean say ye na kwapam. And he needs to go by the terms that what that contract no emo. No be bo me this enkumo the spokesperson and the aide to the former president. A former deputy minister of transport, a lawyer in good standing.
Very good standing. My good chair bar fees be palma. Just last week, I couldn't believe the fees were so high.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey.
If you are me renewing me annual a year for solicitors here, now for which you are greater Accra bar and sana what you are general ban. I only say yes in accordance of seniority.
Yeah.
The higher you are, the more dues you pay. So our dues are really, really high. Then of course, bar conference so they can.
Okay.
It hasn't been easy.
It's in a very good standing. Yeah, what could share the sicker? Leading Eddie Joyce Bauer Mukhtar Esquire. On an open my baby and come about happy birthday encore and from the Greater Accra Regional Minister Daniel Nikwate Titus Glover Commander. Happy birthday encore F Manyamishra. Na onyo kese kopem se obey kese pa. Mama she ye. I'd say.
Nyame adom be bia boko anka kwesi.
Mampani dada John Dramani Mahama what to say?
Me pay rendition of your flag bearer.
Okay.
Any leader.
Okay.
Who ye pa the nyame ase. Onim say no ene nyina ye Greater Accra regional tour. Nti enra ye sha ase na nyame boa ene enyumre ye be twamu ewo amasamai.
Okay.
Na ye to aso efi ho nti who ye pa campaign team John Mahama na Jane Professor Joshua Alabi national chairman Asedun Ketia the general secretary obia ennam bibi nti me sure campaign 2024 no dear it is very broad based na wonim say na pay nkomo ikra ye defy manifesto one sem ye launch ye wo Winneba simple to be precise nti week we dear me sure say nkomo no na mea ya aduma ekoye pa nti obi asuguso a oye ne djuma ye hwe ne onyame be ya mai come election 2024
reception to say Greater Accra.
Oh me show him say Greater Accra.
So you say your first time waba Greater Accra. Yeah.
Who's a Greater Accra? Make us say campaign no dey sha say achepa. Jama 2020 election no. As soon as we ended na kwan de bia na ye kwan so na me sure Greater Accra one of the regions they have actually shown enormous love for the National Democratic Congress. We sure 2020 kra na eni aban they gave us a lot of seats, the parliamentary seats no. Even in the presidential election yeah there pa Greater Accra. Now the Greater Accra so in Ghana has the largest number of registered voters of course. Me sure Greater Accra is actually metropolitan and cosmopolitan in many ways because we share metropolitan now because say a Greater Accra from Kwa but almost a capital of Ghana obia osha foreign residents kra mo ha omo number majority at Greater Accra. And to almost voter register there is a very huge one. And I think that in NDC, we benefit enormously from it now. We share a campaign manager. You'll be a not canon or a member of parliament. Or Lejokuku side or will be a very influential or no also be a chancellor or UPSC and also a Greater Accra. Until you'll be he has a very multi-dimensional experience. A idea or take campaign manager no I couldn't just wa or ye juma panti. Greater Accra, they have know that now Mr. Mahama or the MP open one sempa honorable do you. They be a mechanic or start oh, that's your favorite member of parliament. When him say, will be a share or parliament, and she has really been a very dynamic member of parliament. Or no, sha, who's trying a career in parliament. Why dear party? She represents the very, very, very cosmopolitan outlook of National Democratic Congress. Yes, she has said on the constituency. In fact, or now, or near yes, I will do a Shaiman. I call Honorable Nogbe constituency, and it was a fantastic welcome and a good conclusion to our first day at or Greater Accra. Campaign from Upper East, Volta region. Now be drew Greater Accra.
So now still on Greater Accra for the 2020 election results. After 34 constituencies vote count, President Akufo-Addo 1.2. I'm starting from President Obama. 1.3 million, representing 51.04%. Nana Akufo-Addo 48.10%. You be going to improve by new in 2024.
Oh, I foresee that. Me share a idea. Me tell him say. Greater Accra, I've seen how monumental the support has actually risen. I may share from 2020, we share the caliber of members of parliament at war, or more dynamism, even on the floor of parliament, or more advocacy, even outside of parliament. Now, we share more nature, say, a man no do more free Greater Accra, or more side. They make amazing contributions. Me share. That 50%, no, it is bound to go up. Now, a Greater Accra chairman, Ashemo, Kra Cheche Musa Adia, Yebe Adia, and a former Greater Accra chairman, Adekoka, or no cry that campaign, no, or Baba.
Magic in Greater Accra.
I think it's the relevance of the party. Now, we should Greater Accra for communities outside of the internal Greater Accra. We should build that mayor, Ejaye. Greater Accra Metropolitan Assembly. It is a huge thing. When you say our project, no, SSR, the whole of Central Accra. It made it a very vibrant and robust environment. And me sure say ni pasha, almost share your contribution. Share court complex now, Professor Mills. Esha say Uzi. Say nebi bi omodi beka hu bia. It is only after the main fact. What you say. Now, Osha MPP. There's one thing that omo share omo ya dey won. Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum no nti na ye me anwanwa say meti say Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh or try very hard to belittle the relevance or the example of Osagifo in this country. But of course, I wasn't surprised. Of course, says our founders Nyoma debate idea. The MPP has tried very hard under President Akufo-Addo to literally rewrite their history into idea. Maybe or more dream no more try some be fun. But me sure Greater Accra. We share Kanye in one summer. We share Kwai one summer. Porter, NDC, SCA, Greater Accra, Tema Metropolis. We share expansion of Moye, Greater Accra. I suspect brother Ibrahim Mahama and the cement factory, Greater Accra, Tema Metropolis. You can tell, say, the party is very strong, not just across the country, but Greater Accra. The visibility is very, very profound. The
other region now, and so it comes to voter population numbers, was the Ashanti region. In 2020, more 26.08%, where is about 4% away from 30% mark. President Akufo-Addo shooting to 71.64%, though it's a drop from 2016. Ashanti region, Ebe Farmer, 2024.
Adia me person me can say ye share from your first tour of the country, which was largely a listening tour. Now you share your second tour, which was actually the Building Ghana Together tour. Now me share campaign here I shall say to reset Ghana and vote for change. Me sure I can tell that our message is resonating with a large number of the populace. We share Greater Ashanti, main Ashanti region. You can tell that the tide is changing. Largely because of strategy and messaging. When you say Ashanti region issue, it's a very complex issue. I wouldn't want to explain because historically, we share NDC, we always, even under strongman Jerry Rawlings, then a very powerful Akan individual. Kran Akonyaso. They used to do about 30%. Indeed, it is why we have always been very conservative with our projections. Now, almost Wusha, they are also a very strong hold for the New Patriotic Party. But Wusha, on the other hand, NDC is actually a multi-faceted political party. We are very diverse. Na yes, Wusha, we are very inclusive. Into Wusha 16 regions here, dear, and part the region Bia, we do quite well, relatively well, and much better. And say Wusha political parties no nyina MPP nkwana. There's this large or very huge specifically Ashanti region. I don't want to put too much emphasis on that, but me assure say strategy in place. No, it is a strategy that will work. We should be a caliber of OPCs, choice of a party executive, contributions of former party executives, and in Yamanyoma. Now this time we share campaign no flag bearer John Mahama. Won a campaign team. National chairman, who is a fantastic campaigner, I say don't get here, won a campaign team. Nana Jane Opokwajima, won a campaign team. Inti Wusha party youth wing, and also Omasha say your campaign. Inti, I have a feeling say this time no, your strategy no complete. Now there's a way I may describe NDC. We share since 2016, ebesinde there. How we have repositioned rebranded a party crowd. We MPP Nikra now share in the CCCR. We say we are a very serious and strong brand, and so we mean business. Intimation says CCR, it is almost as if you have an example. We share branding ne attempts your opponents. CCR. You can see now. Make a debia say political party I campaign cry the cry we are say 2016 campaign. It was a very robust campaign, very well organized. Now we share all this was a color coordination, a party outlook. We share type of NIPA elected as executive officers. And I think the beautiful part is that the marriage between your former, your papa no your mama no any younger group, there's some very good synergy. Until I have no doubt in my mind, say. Now so when you say political party there, people want to see your readiness. Any preparedness.
And now 2016, Asante can say your flag bearer. So Ghana for the come near Nibre and a tour by the tier no in 2016. Dear Mafia free.
Oh, yeah, funny say what to for pa. When you say Asantini will be only a leader, almost share say any under for Fanyene. Honestly, you'll be a who did your mama in very high esteem. Now, you are a Costrano, you cry and Colancola, you had a nice word or two to share with Inina. A advice I will take you very seriously. And I may say, and I pay Obina can ask them, or say, now, sa time no cry, na sa advice, ye bano, na dollar for cities, and net a 16 plus. Sa time, you know, inflation, and net inflation, if 54%. Yes, say eba form. Now corruption cry na can was em. Sad can no Mr. Mahama the worst record no and no cry and do your bio. Nti wo sha main indices nipa de share omoto aban. Na me say bra Ghana Statistical Service na nko amasem multi-dimensional poverty e Ghana has this year is about 65%. Me ka de bia say me call law mu me come with me papa intentions. Me be I believe in equity pa. Me pay and fairness be of any kind. Me see they be me down for kurani. Me ne wo bon come. Don't be sexist don't be discriminatory.
Okay.
Nkomo bia ka ho bia can debate you the whole day. Aha, nti obia wo ne limits. But wo sha NDC no, they are an extremely broad-based party. When you say ye ethnic Ukraine strong because we share NDC obia e ka ho bi. We share sense of inclusivity and inclusion in terms of gender orientation and approach to gender issues. We share see on the side of the NDC. Just look at from Nana Jane. They share ma omuwo party now from the highest level. Betty Mould no from that era. Christina Amakonia Amanumo, Auntie Faustina Nelson. Now back next year we be share omu to say Anabiso, Barbara Samoa, Marietta Brew, one another category. Then we be back next year. You may say Beatrice, ne young Aisha, no Zainab party no. Se see a ultimate who say, "Ejina mupa." Ti bibia ye bia do it very strategically. Now when him say, there's one thing so Misha, Amma Sesia, Obia is very interested in the activities of political parties, in the nature of your pledges, in the nature of promises. Ayeye, adia ye see ebe ye ni se ni ebe ye no. And no Misha say mo sister station bia wa ha. Omo see a current manifesto yi. Yeah, it was 600 and BB plus promises. Yeah. Which I say, no more share from 2008, 2012, 2016. I think it was a fantastic program. They be a make say, and yes, say onyame the knowledge be ama ubi to say oh they do also power IQ 100% in but what's the sad knowledge pieces of wisdom? Any advice if it be a boa wejuma, a my ejuma ejina. Okay. Intimate programs I love the analysis and the fact that research need data edumano aboy pa na party discipline and so say it has improved greatly. Okay. What means say between the members of parliament we share leadership, we share even ordinary members. Now we could share your base no they are very energized this year.
Now, talking about the manifesto for Yemra, the 2024 manifesto. I never quit Muntin year, Mwakama, a Toma Kumaso, the Women's Bank. Dear.
Oh, when him say, a dear Ghana, and ye necrani, a shall say, I can't Women's Bank once. Make I say, Mina mea cola, me mammy, no, you're part of National Women's Council. So our council knows those days are not. Gender in your mind yet big news ewa na eno na eboa ma bebre ewe women's development any rural communities or more businesses. Now we share 31st December ejuma omo be ye omo fa sa advice no efi sa National Women's Council na wo kai say sa time kra na complaints we all say 31st abeje ejuma na sa particular body no eye until we have actually evolved na evolution so kire say ene who call other jurisdictions, which means who say people even advertise or more businesses say, oh, this is a women-owned business, this is a women-led business, this is a sustainability business, this is a business that contributes to women-led businesses. Which means who say who bank we now or more branding in because of the priority they give to women-owned enterprises. Now me small enterprise me work a cooperative. Na debia meka say emma omobobusia they pay back. Enya dia we sorry kra akohwom. The only challenge I ma want is say e kodu baby and emma enya problem. Oh here so this asika no be boa. And na family e won say my head. Inti government bia owo emma won asem eda na akoma so. E ade a wo say we hwe nyoma enya ma Ghana. Now, say what could fa oba other empowerment and not to send an agenda. You also have to. Okay, say NDC. Now, can you know we used to launch women's manifestos. Okay. Issues that target largely Emma. Now, we share your population census. Women are actually about 52.something%. It means say Emma or Ghana. Say Emma asset ye kof to aba. Ama party A, B, or C, it is very easy for them to even enforce and bring about that change that is required. And it is important, say, political parties, you share your man, and I say, me, I am actually third generation Northern daughter. Me, mommy, no, a teacher. Northern region almost started first women-oriented training course. Now, my mommy, she became the first principal in that place. Into a idea empowerment, a senior year titi. Now, my sisters, yes, 5 of us girls, your brother, your back. Into it tells you that your my idea a beboa or bar senior big jina we say idea. I was raised solely on that. Into me share senior political okay say 2020 cry kofa na Jean. Madam is low so sembe no kind. In fact, o kachia ono any party senior mu kra manioma na so more mass the so mu nyina dodo e won you patriotic party nso omo ntimi anhwe kra amfa omo ba ko say be year running mate and I say betena akonja so nti idea na say these things really matter. They make a huge difference.
Okay.
To be gender sensitive, to be sensitive to the plight of women, to be sensitive to issues that concern women. And to research,
how is it going to operate?
It will operate very, very simply.
Okay.
I would anticipate, say, in my understanding and in my conversations with generative interest in banking, say it will be manned by women. Mrs. Akrakai, I hope you're not going to have this bank and then you have some men sitting there as bank managers in your man. It is something people are very interested in. So we want to see, why not, our experiment of a very first female-owned, female-run, female-managed, female-implemented Women's Development Bank. Senior Kaneno, National Women Council on Women in Development, that is what we anticipate. Their fees in your money charges soon, they will be at the barest minimum. So high interest. Make I say years ago, me for mortgage. Transaction fees in a percentage of amount now we pay. Aye, Debbie. Oh, now it's our time. Look at dollar no crana and I that from.
Oh, okay.
Debbie. Let I know so. Oh, now me dem me be a me pay a dime so. Me and me papa me pay manageable conditions. Ah, what you say? Nti we share na Ghana has a here. Why not cover mortgage? And when I think back to those days, mortgage now here $30,000. Yes. In tsunami salary, it meet you.
It's Women's Bank, they never have Ghana number.
Into Women's Bank, no. It will reposition and refocus on what? Funding women-led businesses. Okay. Women-owned enterprises. Okay. And prioritize the interests of women. Sure. Women are making one say, to say, yeah, majority more rural communities in Ghana. Who can share agric, who can share farming, who can share butter. Mimi mami no you'll be always share butter. Emma cocoa, but for many years, no you'll be no one mango farm. Inti sa mano almost those where Ghana. Okay. Almost pay busy omunya. A lot of them depend on susu. Now when you say bank rationalization, it shut off a lot of their small investments. Now I think 11 SMEs are not almost depending on financial inclusion. And no craft I because almost be brain no be to e-levy per each transaction there. And they can't. Until you say idea, you will adjust all these things just to create a comfort zone into your bar or business plan. Now ensure that and even convince now to make all say or proposal here idea me go. Now say na mo be buam. I would even expect say that bank will focus more. Me ba na pay me share bank abi. Now what interested me was what I say is in sustainability. Me obi a me pe young nkomo pa. Me pa dwen say minimum diama. Baby me obi a I interact with a lot of people at all levels. We share me focus group team for. They are some of the sharpest you can find. Would there for question be able to platform no so say here. Within seconds. Benya answers are
so is it going to be a commercial bank, a savings and loans, and answer what form of bank?
It will largely be a development bank. It will be cast in the mode of a savings and loans. Okay. But this emphasis will be that there will be seed money provided by government.
It will be a government-owned savings and loan?
Largely. And it will be managed by women. But you see, Ghana, be a partnership in my private sector. I mean, Michelle, there was a government, this Women's Development Bank, correct board led by women, management led by women, staff mostly women.
It is so per the
and reorient them to focus.
So per the manifesto, who am the manage the Women's World Bank?
Mr. Mahama Chiremu said, Professor Nana Jane office will largely be the implementing body for that bank. Okay. And Nana no otia say passing e my bread. Nte ya dia say wo dia de hye ne sa wonim say ombeye to the point where be chi obi ni. Nte sa policy no e idea was in the first 120 days. It is a policy that will be rolled out. It is very easy to do. Okay. And say you don't need large bank buildings. We overemphasize ne sa brick and mortar here. They be you go say oh say one huge building behind the bank no enya there be chance maybe we are there from the get go with market women, with all sorts of women's groups and associations. Ghana has a say when you say madodo or more various associations and cooperatives. Would be so bia or say high interest rates. We share exchange rates. They are unimaginably too high. Or be our small business be a to me. Okay. The idea equity will be at the basis of this Women's Development Bank. Ain't
semi-beji loan ewo Women's Bank interest bo?
Oh, interest no very soft loan. Ti wo beji be 5,000 and now beji tops 10,000. I don't expect so we to interest more than 1%. Until we find out how other one. Why not? Share, we share sika aban essay. We are say I am convinced big push agenda 10 billion Ghana cedis. Would the 1 billion at the share Women's Development Bank here? They will never make a loss. And remember that you are lending to larger numbers of small entrepreneurs. Okay. So you will maximize your profits.
Okay. It means, what is our question here? How are you going to marry Women's Bank and Maslock?
Oh, me say Maslock, no, the intention behind it was fantastic. But in the end, we became very partisan.
Maslock about partisan?
Largely. And no me fan say when him said this, not just because of the New Patriotic Party or the NDC. The intentions for which that Maslock was set up, very, very, very good. But of course, they've lost track. In the idea, they don't support anybody. So when you be a MPP near there, may say me call Maslock, I'm on mommy be
what apply?
Oh, say COVID sikano cry by okay. This way, oh, we've had these debates. Oh, Nipa be brave, they didn't get it. Oh, me say you have to have the right face, have the right name, be the right fit.
Say who Joyce Bawa Muktari apply for.
Me nine coins see ho.
COVID sika.
Oh, me nkokra na.
That's what we call makra.
Oh, me say mama form no cry emfa mama.
Oh, how?
Oh, ade. Oh, what Ghana high. We say nkomo e bia say
say obi for na wo kan e
different.
You're talking about
conversation wo mfa me ho asem kan. Wo be kan no cry de ende. Adwuma no yen wie nene. Nti no de me pese me bon ho cry. Ade. Say ye say PC candidate e was Avlugu Northern Region cry. E ka che say ye man 50,000 so fan quarter votes. Obi also Upper West Region sa you say no there any propaganda a fact. Maslock no say afi dey a good cry.
It NDC ba mo be Maslock dey.
Oh, Maslock wo ho. But then na make no Maslock no when you say Omaka. Sorry, Mr. Mahama can who asem say. All these financial institutions we have to revisit more establishment laws.
Okay.
We have to recalibrate more existence. Unim say me one of the biggest reasons why corruption ever be I want to say governance institutions to be brave. And when I say na debate be wo say your colleague Ablakwa Dibibia be told you say sika bia be to da Ghana airport
$20 million.
Excellent.
Okay.
Na me brother ko Esuma ebe jis or the tumu say obe response bia obisa say bibia odi asem na akoto no e ho na ehia so de beto. Nti me confess our tweet no, and I responded and asked him 10 questions. Where is a citizen of Ghana going to take such a matter? Or the Beko Yoko, and now the Beko Commission on Human Rights and Civil Justice, and now the Beko Special Prosecutor's Office, and hifa na citizen wako nya sa information we purely by accident, maybe out of a Concerned Citizens Act. say boss me te say de bia wo de sa ne ma betudwa asemia be si wo ha o omo mpese obi abete ntije. Where will such information be taken to? Especially when you are an NDC looking for a solution. It's as simple as that. Ndi bisa ko say ade ye nim say wo on record we are counsel to the president of Ghana na meboa. Bank of Ghana omo lawyer for kese bebre na say kwa menim omo number omo wo ho. Omo huge legal department, omo huge public relations department.
Okay.
Nti so obi akoye sa asem kwa na wo de atodwa. Na nya wo presidential council na obeba be kan ho asem. Nti even that speaks volumes about how governance institutions no there. Omo nyina omo nya adwuma bio. Na wo hwe poverty baby I was this year. Mass lock no nyoma. E dey nti na omo hwe ase omo de sa campaigns ni. Na me say me a me former public servant. Answer na me kwa me be deputy minister. Wo no ade ba kwa me hwe. Show youth employment agency see nyina see. Wo ko hwe omo history omo ko ye adwuma ho no. E dey no mo ye. Purpose for which omo ko ho no. How many of them achieve the real purpose?
So ni mrani mo an my mrani say after 2 years ye nyomo kwan ba bi on fa de nya ase.
En na make am nti CEO, deputy CEOs bebe e dey no mo ye. Omo fi okura no makoye MP. Ni wo nyina nim what is entails. Nti me say de bia NDC young people omo nza mo ni make catch omo de bia. Young people are me de bia me share make catch omo let's hope. Sa circumstances yi, sa institutions yi, sa ejuma e wo hi nyina ye de hye mo nsa. You will be fair to your demographic.
It may maintain mass lock near senior women's bank.
Oh, by all means, they can coexist happily. Mass lock when I was savings and loans will be here. Omo interests are different. Omo ejuma are different. Na me tell say, NDC ni bia on come mass lock under an NPP administration or dem ho. Anya dey be baso. So if we don't even reposition it, now we'll see Women's Development Bank. We'll be share senior, we'll be share 52%, where at least 3 out of every 10 poor people is female and a woman. Now we'll see what they share mass lock on sir.
The NHS say Women's Bank MAS mass lock. When
it won't happen.
When the office of the president NB make an external having an oversight responsibility of the bank. When you say
Ghana is here, there's a lot of scrutiny. Remember that things are not like they used to be. When you say we share trajectory of your conversations. Me bet na ha nyina won say enya de a hwe me wura ha me hwe newspaper headlines nyina. Look at the headlines. It's almost as if party back kwa na we ase ha. Obi anka ho biom. So just imagine for a minute say you need social media. Nko opposition kra na mu wo hefa. Why kra na be bon come with any opposition party in this country. When him say politics so it requires some level of etiquette.
Yeah.
Me sure MPP that's another thing that they've totally lost sight of. Say etiquette. Ethics in governance is also important. Even if you believe in democracy, how you relate to opposition parties is extremely important. They are there, Masha saying, almost 2 terms on Baba office. Almost intentions is just to annihilate opposing voices. Who will let's be an teaching where we are say easy. Independent candidates are more listening so. Easy, major money then. Law establishing electoral commission, constitution say, for you to qualify as a presidential candidate, there was a party presence in every region. List no mo debate jano. Can electoral commission din sabe bone kuma say sanko fun no mo register no if there is no sinister motive. Omo ye onipa they qualify to be on their list.
Independent presidential candidate.
And now maybe Sanu.
I say independent presidential candidate who in office.
But who were qualifications?
Yeah.
Tax clearance.
Yeah.
Who, they will do due diligence, with background, with criminal records, with past.
Or reservation be one.
They must even publish these things.
Suspect to be Biana.
Oh, it is obvious. It's apparent. Now me say and NDC there, we are standing very firm on terra firma. We will scrutinize this government. We'll put them on their toes. Now me say, with all the newspapers on their case, Onyami never forget that God works in the affairs of men. Or share a nyafo who have gotten poorer. Mo platform is one and many will be a debate or see of a VRA or a public relations a year of VRA.
Yeah.
Or say almost $11.9 million, almost 12 million. Vice President Baume Nekache said the biggest investment at MPPI in Northern region, any upper regions, is the Kwalugu Dam. After $12 million, dam bien Bibia. Sa land no air for public purpose, they acquired it through an executive instrument. Into preparation, topography, then, nini na I see him. Now, we share Smith conversation ayeka. Transaction advice and what you say $491,000. And so advice or the man or reservations says our transaction it is not in the interest of Smith. Tibra say ye jai sa sika yaka ye recklessness ye Ghana public debt and they over 600 billion and counting. And so you see men can want them. Okay, you see Ukraine. And now what the Ukrainian president or CNN so. Or no crying jin to say war no aha or sit there on the right trajectory. His country is doing very well. Their Greek is still solid. Even in the course of a war with Russia. How have we fared against all these examples? COVID by
John Mahama beat me
South
deliver
Africa.
Ghana in 4 years.
Say John Mahama, they are failed here. One thing I can say for certain, everybody can see. And he says it himself. He didn't say that government under Mills or Mahama was perfect. But at least we're going somewhere.
Obit me save Ghana in 4 years.
You're with your help and my help.
Obit me
with our
save
support,
Ghana in 4 years.
he will make an effort and he will make a difference.
With
and
about
you will see it.
600 promises.
Oh,
in 4 years.
In 120 days, if we cut down on corruption, if we are able to pass the law to stop borrowing unnecessarily and recklessly, we start investigations into $58 million for the National Cathedral. We start investigations into almost 12 million for a Kwalugu Dam that doesn't exist. Don't forget one dam, Public Accounts Committee, PDS, $12 million. And almost see you on a kind. Wait, these are matters of public records. Ghana ha Ewosika. But your leadership or more officers here, even though they promised to do better, OBN said they have failed on key governance issues there. We shouldn't even talk. Afro Barometer, Omwaka, Ghana Statistical Service, and no cry, Ghana, buying Juma, or Muye research, Emma, Omwaka. We are saying, what is food inflation? A hider. We share Galam say, yeah, it has taken a different course under this administration because there is no willingness.
Okay.
After I look at the age of 2 lines, so then I, Usha, is it some Anka, what the age of 2 lines so for Galamsea? They be our helicopter more, which I wish.
That's it. Memye Emra Sere Metro Airport, Sumami Joyce Bawa Muktari. Esquire, spokesperson de ma Mampeni, John Dramani, I'm a flag bearer of the NDC, NNHA and Komono. Ebra some boys Bedika Kradio Gombotum. Enti Watchabia, Odrona Airby. Cha na be dimulabre aso ye ba ese onya bi di e mama yiko ba so utwa na wani empaba said there be am catch to said o kana voice na so say but you see we are 12 and number 6 there will be another draw consider question for that there we remittances another there ba question economy me ye pa ye etwa get ya o ti wa nyu ho antwa we da kom on 17th of September, afie nyina ye share British Council. The Joy News Amaga Joy News ne empenfo abenim die pa and asebe ba be share. Na kuma ekwakode about transformed individuals transforming the world. Yes, sabako for shebre, near yasesa ewiase nyina shebre. It depends for your twins are from Ebiobeka Sam, Dr. Philip Engman, Dr. Mrs. Yvonne Yenchua Isiku, Ambassador Umar Sanda Ahmed, Lieutenant Colonel retired, Main Speaker Reverend Dr. Joseph Kofi, and moderator Philip Osei Bonsu, host of Ecosystem on Asempa 94.7 FM. It's a new Siampe Pepe in our British Council. Open information be on one. 0244 220 427 0244 220 427. This event is powered by Joy News and Joy FM. Coa MT mixture and so in is an aba will be able to boost the immune system. So like as a weather na ye nemu ne sa no nwunu papa. To one boost immune system na ye de be wura ni padwan mafa unomu sese e. Ne betimi aboa mo boost immune system ye Coa Plus mixture. Coa Plus mixture. And o Coa MT mixture. And no and ebo to malaria see. Then you know say men kotonika kedi kanko hospital. My doctor confirm say when you malaria. When you confirm you cause doctor mdawasi. First year mame. Na koto Coa MT mixture nenum. Any bit to malaria say de amo. Remember be a 200 biano. Okwa on sabeka bi ato. At phone frame 0244 726611. 0244 726611 and 0591 565 778 0591 565 778 Coa MT mix am so da popping form oba makwala no fo akwada onya mfinhye dumienu enso enka FDA ajesa ankra toyi atom Joyce Bar Mukhtar Esquire spokesperson dem John Dramani Mahama flag bearer of the NDC and also eti so but na me bisa say munama wunya de say Ghana for J Jomamadi.
Oh, may sure say over the years I think that on that score yaya de pa unim say we share 2016 I always come back to this point say nyoma bebre wo ho a when you say things about disinformation, fake news, we didn't even take them very seriously
in 2016
prior to
2016
and nyoma bebre wo ho a fact checking no it didn't come out well.
Okay.
Coupled that with a very aggressive opposition at the time. Me say, people forget something very, very important. Say, John Mahama, otna a petition for 9 months. To my utter shock, Nanu Miti say, Information Minister, Good Morning Ghana, so can say, Supreme Court Nemano, Presidency, and your Ghanaians granny voting NDC. I was very shocked to hear that from Ghana's Information Minister.
Fatty.
Yes.
So was the Supreme Court the man,
oh,
the
yes.
the presidency.
Yes, they validated, yes.
Not Ghanaians.
Yes.
Fatty.
Oh, yes, she said it. Now, me see, this was a case that took the... Now, who is a Ghana? That had never happened before. For 9 months, the legitimacy of the Mills and Misata and John Mahama administration was questioned. 9 months. In actual fact, John Mahama didn't even work for even 4 years. Calendar year was gone in that sense.
Maybe also not prepared for
how?
The presidency.
How? If you went in on this very emotional campaign after a leader who had actually made you his running mate and subsequently vice president fell sick and died in office. That's not an easy thing for anybody to have to absorb. And then you had to go on a campaign because remember your opponents didn't tell you that, oh, because of the circumstances, And then as soon as you won that election, and then, brother, nyoma yehu efa isi huan semi na. And then, imagine that but for these exercises across the years, what are some of the challenges or the mistakes or wrong things you think were happening in some of these institutions that govern our elections?
Question, Minister, what to be there? Dina na kawo Ghana Hanamwa, Jomama Peso Beya Enti, after serving as Assemblyman, Member of Parliament, Deputy Minister, Minister, Vice President, then President. Yes, still, Mama so Peso Sabe President.
When you say Ghana Hankwana Nipa Bisa sa question. Oh yes, me Nti wo baby a. Ade, we are in a democracy. Yes.
Nti wo baby a.
Me Nti wo baby a. Man who say it's part of the propaganda.
Okay.
What you say, come and say a campaign message, grandma and coffee.
Okay.
But let me tell you, say, Joe Biden, uti applause on your da or handy over Mark Kamala Harris. Question history. Share a human being's heart, a human being's concern, a patriotic citizen. These offices will not make any difference to the person. Now, John Mahama, unim no besin me. What is our tina bebida? What is our coffee Juma Ewa international community bida? What is the family and a ma to a free her akot na bebida and also municipal passports bida? Me, I look at him as a citizen just like all of us. Now, presidential campaign there, it is open to everybody who is qualified for as long as you agree in tandem with the Constitution. Simple. So I don't even want to focus on that.
Okay.
Now, Mr. Mahama started a campaign from 2020. There is something that happened. You see, Onyamino, Owone Juma Oye. But yeah, politics, yeah, share focus on God factor, no be break. When him say, Mr. Mahama, the 4-year term, no, for election petition, no fear.
Okay.
It challenges legitimacy.
Yeah.
After Obe started Juma after 9 months, what happened? The power outages are started here under President Kufuor. They started under Professor Mills. It took a downturn. And that drought here, I can't want to say me. Say no one effective at Kosombo Dam. That time, can I call us actually in sea level?
Yeah.
Into a beyond stressing your use can and your man. Fortunately or unfortunately, it got worse under his term. So me so be say, what will we expect in sense of Mahama Bay? Now you need infrastructure beer or independent power producers. Ghana gas had just been set up and was now coming on stream. Until even as an option, no, now ensure them back on stream fully. We feel what for ABC Bui Dam. And so I any hono. Say Bui Dam so ain't me my hydropower. Yeah. Him say sometimes circumstances can create issues for you that were not even your intention. But anyway, I feel what you say. Now, Cecia, look at even the history of projects Mahama yeah under NDC, even at the time. Independent power producers, you need to for as long as you have gas, the lights will stay on. But for that single intervention, energy issues, sometimes we don't give credit where we should because of partisanship. We also don't empathize even with our leaders. Look, he went through a very challenging period in that 4-year term. E-blocks are all starting, or say 200. They be fee office. Almost catch a say. One of the biggest propagandas, they say, our blocks, no, they were in bushes. Me call been doing and say, one of the e-blocks that is actually in operation. Who Gina stop test now? Who agenda 111 hospital or why na the camera call and agenda 111 projects no? And he found almost projects. What to say NDC nearby catch or say, sa buildings no bushes no. You see, and Mahama can assembly, and we are looking at the farm side of it. Okay. When with democracy, governance, politics, respect is very important amongst our leaders, even for political parties. Fairness is very important. Ethics. Me, I am a very disciplined person. When say maybe within the same. When person I won't even refer to your name properly or address you properly. Because me say me won't share they will interview them. Me won't name me so me share or baby that, but we haven't had such a conversation. Yeah. It is very important. Say be aware should also manifest in how you even interact with other people. Until campaign season has started, you have all the support and all the tools of government behind you as a certain vice president. Now when young politician the party one launch manifesto on Saturday. Who shall say Ghana hangina I would be vice president. Who share media that or boss the same. Not because of a certain impunity and arrogance and disrespect for democracy. It was to try and drown out our message.
Sir.
Oh yes. It wasn't lost on even the media people were there, they'll tell you. You more fear than ever. Who share was he prepared for that engagement? Let's be honest. Me say, if the fourth estate of the realm, third force, all this impunity will stop. Leader beyond that will be our Ghana.
There's an impunity for Dr. Bawumia to host the media on Sunday, a day after NDC large manifesto.
Start advertising it before our manifesto, because he knew he could. They have the money, they have the resources, they have the government apparatus behind them. Who can say media personalities go and call? Sure, we must demand accountability from our leaders. We must also demand the political parties respect each other.
But so Kasabia, you might also not be fair to Dr.
Bawumia.
Maybe
David, I don't want us to belabor this point. The import wasn't lost on anybody. Now, Onyami dear me say, me, they bear me so I have one prayer. As soon as I open my eyes, I soak myself in the blood of Jesus.
Command Samira Council respond, I say, or say, I didn't know so much MPP launch your manifesto a week later. I'm so launch your manifesto.
Say, ye Bibia Koshe. Campaign cry, we have a calendar. Say, we're the underdogs. So We are very prepared.
But some calendar no Ghana see any calendar.
Himself for security reasons. Now, so I buy it's not with us. What I say.
Sure.
So for every other consideration, we will only give out a day before, 2 days before, 3 days before.
Yeah.
So understandably. But me say, if media engagements were characteristic of their campaign so far, we will be fair-minded. Under the circumstances, it's not the case.
Oh, who says so?
Oh, I know it's not the case. Why? We are all here.
Who send a media engagement in Dr. Baumia?
Baumia and some of the vice president, no, Babamu radio stations in Namibwa. At least remember the one on Peace FM. Remember the one on City in particular. He used to walk in. Hey, who say, Ghanaians are not the way we see them. Ghana people, we are also very conscious. Look, I told the beer, remember that sometimes we be crying broswa. The sympathy of the people cry, Ijayo. People don't empathize anymore. Now, if you watch your vice president, that eloquent man from 2014 right through to 2024, was that the output you'll be expecting from that man? He was mainly spokesperson for Nanado's campaign between 2012 and 2016. No? I mean, at that time, I won't take campaign spokesperson once, true or false. When you say more, say more boy say to market your manifesto.
Yeah.
There was so much far governance, so never constitution.
Okay.
Never ethics of governance. Munya no subject matter of interest. What you say?
Okay.
Here pa, tisa. Ade mu we den aba. Sika semni no manyo no na be news. Enkaye na anapay conversation you aba. Me sure say anka breaking news ya te abre.
President Mama free media mo musika.
Oh. Ye kuye kra say ma.
Mo musika.
Ye nibi.
Mo free media no.
2000 to 10,000 was house.
Mo from mo musika.
Bisobi oba ho.
Mo kapre.
Me am campaign spokesperson.
Mo kapre.
Me see bisobi oba ho.
Mo obi ahwe.
And it was on advice. Because your name says I say maybe 2 years this year your campaign no cry you go derail it.
Mo media na ban PPA.
Emphatically. And no akra na ye boy aba so omo mass advice no ye cry na ye ne omo edi echi Yes.
Joyce Bawa Mukhtar, spokesperson the John Dramani, my flag bearer of the NDC. I'm on your for 2024 election. Medini Akwesi is Yakobo Yard watching that offer. Macra.